Sup guys, and welcome to the unofficial patch notes for War Thunder's major update 1.69, graciously provided by Mike 10D over on the War Thunder Reddit. Let's go through planes first, starting with general changes. Firstly, a bug where some fuel tanks were made of wood and not steel in planes has been fixed. Secondly, all AI soft targets, not tanks, everything else, in air game modes have been updated to a newer damage model format that Mike personally cannot tell is a buff or a nerf yet. Third, the Type 5 Hago AI ground targets in air game modes have a newer damage model format. Finally, all AI ground emplacements have a HP reduced from 240 to 90. Secondly, we have a change to the 20mm MGC30/I AP-I-T range, which basically seems to have drastically increased its penetration from 28mm at 10 meters to 46mm at 10 meters. So you're seeing basically double the penetration on that particular round. Next, we have a change to the BK-37 cannon. The cannon now has decreased accuracy when overheating. The Mark 108, Mark 103 and NS-37 guns have had update changes. The flight models for the following planes have been changed. The B-34, the BF-109B-1L8, the Dorner 217, all variants, the F-84B, the HE-51, all variants, the HE-100D, the HS-123, the JU-88 in all variants, the KI-96, the KI-43 all variants, the KI-44 all variants, the MC-202, the ME-262 all variants, has had an engine weight decrease from 900 kilograms to 720 kilograms, and the PV-2D. Next, we had a change to the armament for the damage model for the KI-102 Otsu. It seems to have been a nerf across most of the plates, reducing them by about 4mm, with the exception of an armoured plate behind the driver, in which case it has become 12mm from 8. So you're going to be softer, but you're less likely to be pilot sniped from the back, it looks like. Next, the KI-44-2 Hei and Otsu variants have had a decrease in the armour plate on the back from 12mm to 10.5mm. For the KI-84 all variants, outer wing tanks now have a reduced flammability risk. The N1K2-J and N1K2-JA have now had the option to carry 4 times 250 kilogram bombs, and the P-47N15 now has a G-suit. Next, on to tanks. The first change is they've added smokescreens, torpedoes and depth charges options to the bar on the bottom. Of course, torpedoes and depth charges only apply to boats, but the option for rockets now means you have a keyed button, so if, say, you have the say the Calliope, you can now have it on the action tab, which is kind of cool. Binoculars now have a field of view of 12 degrees has been reduced to 10 degrees. 2 Chinese tank names have been added to the files. The Type 69 and Type 69-2A. The APDS, fin stabilised, now has its own slope effects present, so it seems that they're much more able to penetrate. The US 37mm cannons, in the form of the M51 and M51B1B2, now get the new APC post-pen effects. The Jagdpanzer 38T has had its bottom armour increased from 8mm to 10mm. The armour above the tracks, though, has been reduced from 10mm to 8mm. The top and back armour has been reduced from 10mm to 8mm. The gun mask has been increased in thickness from 60mm to 70mm. And there's been an armour plate added on the top of the Hetzer where the MG42 is, which is kind of cool. So now you can probably shoot that, and if you've got a HE shell, you can detonate on top of the Hetzer. The max gun elevation has been increased by 1 degree. And the max gun traverse right has been reduced from 12 degrees to 10 degrees. The MG traverse left has been changed from 40 degrees to 90 degrees. And the MG traverse right has gone from 40 degrees to 120 degrees. The Jagdpanzer 4.5 has the MG now modelled, so it can, I guess, be destroyed. The Leopard 1 has had its Commander MG given the ability to now depress. The Leopard 1A1 has had also given the option for its gun to depress. Spaced armour supports now only give up to 50mm of effective armour at any range. The Jag Tiger P for the Ferdinand has a new armour plate gun mask of 250mm, so that tiny spot there where the gun basically connects with the hull is now 250. But I don't think that's really going to help you much. No one's going to actually aim for that. Usually go for the sides. And the gun mask is now split into two. Each part is composed of 125mm each. The Tiger II 88 variants have had the armour in hull now split into 6 parts instead of 4, so it has a more accurate armour damage model in the form of its ammunition capacity. The RU-251 has had its gun sight in simulated battles position moved. The SDKFZ 6/2 now has a wheel on it which offers 2mm of effective armour instead of the previous 10. The STA-1 has a max MG traverse left of... It's been increased from 5 degrees to 30, and it's had a max MG traverse right from 140 to 30. So your MG has kind of got boned. The Chi-Ri 2 has had a mass reduction from 46 tons to 41 tons. The Type 60 anti-tank missile system has had 4 new pieces of armour in the form of tracks added to the hull. The Type 61 has a scope field of view has been increased from 17 degrees to 18.5 degrees. The scope zoom has been changed from 14.7 to 9 degrees. So you've not got that much of a degree of vision now for that, which kind of sucks. The GOES ammunition count has been changed from 130 to 119. The bottom of the Matilda Mark II is now cast homogeneous armour instead of rolled homogeneous armour. The A33 Excelsior Besser machine guns, for both guns, ammo has been increased by 50 rounds. And the stat card now lists the side and rear armour as 63mm. The A39 Tortoise has had a scoop field of view increased from 26 degrees to 40 degrees, and a scope zoom field of view from 24.7 to 21. The Centurion Mark I, the internal ring armour has been changed from 100mm of armour to 67mm of armour. The STRV 81 has had its gun mantlet changed from 152mm to 120mm. The gun mantlet inner has been changed from 152mm to 160mm. A new armour plate has been added behind the gun mantlet that adds 100mm of armour. And the gun mantlet itself in the middle has changed from 152 to 200. So your gun mantlet now on your Strinswagen is going to be kind of crazy. You've got like 300mm of effective armour right there, which is pretty crazy. For the Carnavaron, a new armour plate has been added behind the gun mantlet for 100mm of armour. The gun mantlet itself, outer, has been decreased from 152mm to 120mm. The gun mantlet middle has been increased from 152mm to 160mm, and the gun mantlet inner has been increased from 152mm to 200mm. Also, there is a new armour for the internal ring, which is now 100mm of effective armour. The LVT A1 has had its rear machine gun elevation changed from 70 degrees to 40 degrees. The M103 has had a few changes to the turret. Firstly, this area of the turret here is now 159mm of armour instead of 148.6. This piece of the armour here is now 156 instead of 157.48mm. And this area here loses 0.75mm of armour. So you're basically seeing minor tweaks to the armour on the turret. Nothing too major. They've also added a new turret ring hole. They fixed the hole, so there's no armour hole now in the outer armour, so you're not going to get bullshit shots in. You've got a solid piece of armour there. No sort of damage model just suddenly takes a dump. The M60A1, all of the armour on the side of the turret has been redone. One side is just 10 to 25mm thinner than the other. The turret back is thicker than parts on the other side. Overall, there's been a major nerf to the M60's turret, basically. The M48A1 has had the T142E3 HESH shell added. The M60A1 has had the 7.7mm Type 97 machine guns corrected to 50 cals. And the whole MG has had its yaw changed from minus 25 plus 25 to minus 15 plus 15. And its pitch has been changed from 35 degrees to 35 degrees to minus 10 to plus 35. For the T14, the whole armour has been increased by 0.8mm on the front there. The side armour has been increased by 0.8mm. The rear armour has been increased by 0.8mm. Basically a bunch of 0.8mm. The whole machine gun port, though, has had its armour buffed from 50mm to 76.2mm. Has had the front sort of plate in front of the transmission increased from 50 to 76mm. The front plate above that has been increased by 0.8mm. The outer armour in these weird sort of blocks has been increased from 12.7 to 25.4mm. And they've added more plates that are 100mm. So these tiny 100mm, so if you shoot in the side, you have a chance of hitting this and just not going through. And they've added a new armour plate around the turret ring that is 25.4mm. The M26E1 has had a 100mm armour plate mounted on the back. The IT-1 missile mass has been changed from 50 kilograms to 54 kilograms. The explosive mass has been increased by 0.02 kilograms. And the top speed of the missile has been increased by 4 meters a second. The ISU-152 has had its max MG traverse left increased from 10 degrees to 360, and it has had the exact same thing for its traverse right. So now you basically have more or less a 360 degree defense with your machine gun mounted on top of your ISU. The elevation has been increased from 20 degrees to 85 degrees, but its depression has been nerfed from 10 degrees to 5 degrees. The KV-122 has had its scope field of view changed from 37 degrees to 40 degrees, and its zoomed field of view from 29.7 degrees to 21 degrees. The Su-57 has had a max gun depression increase of 5, so it's even harder to depress now. The Su-51 has had a max gun depression of 2.0 degrees, has been changed to 5.0. The ZIS-43 has had its camera position slightly raised. The ZSU-37 will now drown much easier. The ZSU-23-4 Shilka has had a large amount of armour changes. They're all listed here. And all the armour just shown have been changed from 15 degrees to 9.4. The turret ring has been changed from 10 to 9.4. And more armour has been changed to 8.9. So basically your Shilka has even less armour now. Next, the mission changes. New features have been added, where it supports team-specific battle arenas. This means parts of the battlefield can now be restricted to only one team. Currently being implemented in Poland first, it has been done is not an issue in use yet, except in the Poland capture the flag mode. It appears to be used to prevent spawn camping, and Poland capture the flag is now hidden. So basically, they're trying to fix spawn camping by putting no-go zones. The only issue with this means it's just going to have people camping outside the no-go zones. I think it would be easier if this added more spawn options. Instead of, on most maps, you only have one, so you just get, a Strinsvagen or a Hellcat or something just rolls up and sits there. We'll have to see. Keep an eye on this. And finally, we have other changes. There have been some 3D decorations. Firstly, we have an SVT-40 rifle, the Panzerfaust 60, the M1 carbine, the Lee Enfield, the G41 and the Arasaka 44. So I think what we've got here is the upcoming Summer Madness 3D decorations. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm so getting that Panzerfaust and just mounting it on, like, my Tiger tank for the lols. But it seems every nation's getting one. They've also added new decals in the form of the 215 Chinese T-3485 ZIS-53 number 205, the 531 for the Chinese T-26 number 531, and a Kuomintang emblem. Now that name rings a bell. Kuomintang. Isn't that the name of I know it's the National Party emblem, but isn't that also the name of that that modified Hago the Chinese captured? Maybe a hint at a premium there. They've added new controls for ships, ship torpedo sight and ship torpedo gunners. Drop-down menu changes. Modification is now before customization instead of after in the test flight in the tech tree. and crew is now before information in the slot bar, and they added the code for some new ships. The UK has the Brave Border class, and the US get the Asheville class. Now, off the top of my head, the Asheville class was like gunboat the Americans made as a response to the Cuban Missile Crisis, if I recall correctly. And the Brave Border is also a gunboat. So we're getting 2 more gunboats for the Allies, it looks like. The code's being added. So that's that for the Major Update 1.69. If you like what you see here, please comment down below. Like, all that good shit. If you want to see more frequent updates, please subscribe. Keep on gaming, have a good one, and are you looking forward to these new 3D decorations?